We can learn a lot from the way that Daniel and his companions lived their lives. As well, we can learn a lot by the way Nebuchadnezzar lived his life. You can have a godly example, you can have an ungodly example, and you can still learn a lot from both. I used to take my kids, out, at the grocery store or whatever, and we would try to instruct our kids in righteousness, and we would use every object lesson we could to reinforce the lessons that we were trying to teach them. And negative lessons work just as good as positive lessons. I remember one incident where we were in the grocery store, and this lady was dealing with her daughter, her young daughter, and the daughter was throwing a temper tantrum. And then the mom just lost it, just completely melted down in the middle of the store. Mom threw a temper tantrum just like the kid did. You're like, well, I wonder where she gets it from, And here this lady just losing her mind, and she's screaming at her kid it moved really quickly. You ever been sorry for somebody out in public? You're like, you are making a fool out of yourself, And you're in this place, you're like, you're making a fool out of yourself. And it moved quickly from there to where, I'm going to intervene. I'm like, lady, you need to stop it right now. You're out of line kind of deal. But an ocean of instructional information to be able to tell my kids, okay, let's talk about self-control. And there's, object lesson number 1, do you want to be this lady, No. And so, negative lessons can work very well. The book of Deuteronomy talks about how we're supposed to instruct our kids. And the way we most effectively instruct our kids is while we're on the way with them. I get those parents who are like, how do I best instruct my kids in biblical principles? Well, let me just tell you, if you're going to say, okay, sit down, now we're going to study the Bible, your kid will not get a lot out of it. If you just use, hey, let's go out in life and we use these opportunities for me to instruct, that way they will get so much more biblical information that will stick and that they'll appreciate.